1 2 check check check. All right, how are we doing? This is your DJ's favorite DJ, DJ I Sizzle. All right, let's get into it. Oh yeah, before I do that, so this blog podcast is if you're a new DJ, if you're a DJ that has some experience, or if you're a DJ that's super experienced. This is more just created for, just to kind of talk about my own personal experiences, as well as I'd love if you share your experiences in the comments. It's really helpful. It makes you a better DJ when you can talk to other DJs about events and then like what they've experienced. But today we're going to talk a little bit about being a wedding DJ. So being a wedding DJ, it's a big responsibility. You can mess up somebody's perfect day by doing something wrong, not being prepared. So with that in mind, when you're talking to potential clients, I have about a 15-minute phone call with detailed questions. And the questions go over everything from ceremony start time, setup time, location, what kind of venue it is, what kind of clothes I should be wearing. Because it would be terrible to show up to a wedding that's suit and tie and you're wearing a t-shirt. That's not going to look good at all. No, not good at all. So keep that in mind. Dress is very important. I always ask what size crowd this is going to be. What's the age demographic of this crowd? Is there going to be kids there? I always ask if there's going to be alcohol or no alcohol. Nothing worse than playing a song with alcohol in it and nobody's drinking. They're recovering alcoholics. Not a good idea to play music like that. So get yourself a list of questions before you actually consider taking a job, because sometimes you're not the right fit. And also some other stuff I always say is like, look, I'm a DJ and an MC, but I'm not a joke teller. So I'm not going to be the MC that's like telling jokes and talking to people in the crowd. That's really not my style. I mean, I'm more than happy to do announcements. Absolutely. I'll do wedding introductions. I love doing wedding introductions, and I'll announce, the all new Mr. and Mrs. Smith or something like that to that extent. So that's why you have to really have a lot of questions for them. Some other questions, and the way that I'll run through the questions is the order of the wedding, right? So for the ceremony, what kind of music do you want before you actually walk down the aisle as a bride? Do you want it to be pop? Do you want it to be instrumental? Do you want it to be acoustic? What kind of music do you want? Because I don't know. I don't know. I don't know your crowd. As well as what song do you want to walk down the aisle as a bride to? This is a very important one. I cannot choose a song for that. As a DJ, it's like the worst thing you could do. You're like, well, why don't I play this song by Train called Marry Me? Oh, I hate Train. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and have you choose the song, because there's always a special song that people like, and it might not be a popular song. So that's very important. And then also, after they get married, I now pronounce you husband and wife. What song do you want played? Everybody's clapping. Let's get that music going. Now it's celebration time, man. Now we're walking down the aisle. We're married. Let the party begin, right? So you need to know what song that is too. I've gotten some interesting requests. There's a really interesting request for songs after they get married. But you're going to want to ask them what part of the song, what section. It's okay to ask a lot of questions. In fact, your potential clients and couple will appreciate you asking these questions, because it lets them know that you're really prepared, you're experienced, and this isn't your first wedding, Well, if it is your first wedding, then take a lot of notes and make sure you ask these questions. And then, after that, it's like, well, do you guys want to do party introductions where we introduce the entire party? Usually, clients, they don't really want this unless there's 200 plus people there. But if it's a smaller crowd, they usually don't want to do introductions. It's like everybody knows each other here, so what are we doing introductions for? And that's cool. I totally relate to that. More than happy to do them, and then with the introductions, have the clients, bridal party, groomsmen, bridesmaid, have them choose their song they want to come into. So you play 30 seconds of the song, you intro them in, everybody's cheering. Feel like rock stars, man. Feel like rock stars. So have them choose those songs. Or they could just choose to have one song and then you just do the announcements, the introductions through that one song. But always have like a place where they can fill out what song they want. So then after that, you got to look at, well, are you guys going to have serve dinner now? So if you're doing dinner, then you know, what kind of music do you guys want for dinner? Do you want more like rock? Do you want more country? Do you want more hip hop? What are you guys thinking for, you know, the hour that you guys are going to be socializing, eating, you know, drinking, enjoying? Also, you want to always ask radio edits or explicit. I found certain couples, they love music with cussing in it, and that's their crowd. Like their crowd is very like, they're open to everything. We did one wedding where they had an open bar right where the ceremony was. So all their guests were going up there getting beers, getting, you know, mixed drinks. And they were all like in the actual ceremony, just sitting there watching, drinking beer, you know, drinking mixed drinks. So if it's that kind of audience, they're probably going to be fine with explicit. If it's an audience where they don't really drink and it's more like, you know, they're a little more focused on family values and stuff, then they're probably not going to want a lot of cussing in their songs. At least that's what I found from experience. So then after you get through the ceremony, sometimes I'll even ask, like, if you guys have a playlist like Spotify, that would really help, because music is so all over the place now. And what was once radio hits is now like somebody's Spotify favorite song. So you have to kind of, and not all artist songs are favorites. Like certain songs from one artist may be a favorite to one couple, but another songs are not. So you always want to get as much information on that as you can. So then after dinner is served and everything is good, sometimes they'll go into toast, first dances, garter toss, bouquet toss. These are all things that you're going to want to get songs for. So if they're cutting the cake, what song do you guys want, or do you want me to choose it? I'll usually throw on some old school James Taylor, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You. I find like people really enjoy that song. It's a good song too, like really, and it, you know, it's kind of sweet, you know, sweet, I don't know, cake, whatever. But the more you can get them, more questions you can ask about all these moments, the better you're going to be prepared and the smoother everything's going to run. So after that's all done, everything, all the formalities are out of the way. It's time to open up the dance floor, right? It's time to start dancing. It's time to have maybe another round, enjoy ourselves. So this is something too, you have to ask the couple, like, what kind of music were you guys thinking? Are you thinking like, you know, like party classics that everyone knows in all age demographics? Or are you thinking more like you want to make it like a special EDM night? Or are you thinking you want to make it all country? Or you want to make it all Latin? Or you just want a mix of everything? Or you could be like, you know, we really like line dancing. Like everybody in our, you know, friends and family, we love to line dance with each other. So you want to ask a lot of like, what kind of party music do you want? Like that's a very important thing to ask. So, and then also you want to have a do not playlist. Some couples really don't care, and they love music and they say, play whatever you want, DJ. It's all you. You know what you're doing. And then I've had some couples who are like, you know, I don't like any of these artists. I don't want any line dancing, none of that stuff. Like it just, to me, it's just doesn't work. So I understand that too. Like maybe that's not your thing, you know, I understand it. So these are questions you got to ask though. Because if you don't ask these questions, you're going to be dropping the Macarena on them, and everybody's going to be looking around like, this is not my playlist. I didn't ask for this. So I've never personally had that happen, but that's why you ask a lot of questions beforehand. So then after that, you say, hey, do you guys have a final farewell song you guys want played as you guys are exiting the building? And then also, you know, after that, pretty much good to go. So I would also allow 2 hours. If this is your first wedding, or if this is even like your 10th wedding, always allow at least 2 hours for setup, if they allow it. Sometimes they don't allow you. They just give you an hour. You got to get in there, set up in 30 minutes as quick as you can, get the music playing, get the party going. So that being said, I recommend that you get a list of questions for your clients and you do a phone call with them, because you can talk to them through email and stuff, and you can kind of feel, and sometimes you will get hired through an email, but it is really good to talk to them on the phone so you can get a vibe from them. It's very important. And then Something you're going to want to do is also create a wedding outline if you don't already have one. An outline is basically everything that we just talked about, but it's them for them to fill out. And then that way if they're like, no, we don't want to do the garter toss. Like that's never really been a thing, So let's just go ahead and not do the garter toss. First dances are cool, but we just want it to be, me and my husband. Those are things you got to look at too and be like, okay, cool. And then also like special moments and stuff. I had one couple that was really cool. They wanted to pay tribute to somebody that they lost in their family, and it was difficult, like to stand there and just be like, whew, try not to get a little emotionally swept up. But I think for them, it was something that it made them feel like they could release this, these feelings that they had, and this was kind of like their farewell to that person and their family. So I always put like special moments. Is there anything you want to dedicate to people? And that's about it. I mean, and then I would say, always set up your crates as soon as you can. Have everything labeled first dance. Have everything labeled and create your playlist crates. Call it like ceremony. Call it, toast. Call it, whatever songs they want for those moments. Have them organized in separate folders. It makes it so much easier for you. Because if you just got a song in like a random folder, a random crate, it's going to be hard to get really quick. And a lot of times you don't have more than they'll come up to you and be like, all right, a couple minutes, or if you want to do it now, as soon as the song's over, I'm like, song's over in about 20 seconds. And they're like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do it now. You go right to that crate, cue the song up, get on the microphone, say, hey, everyone, I'd like to, hand the mic over to the bride and groom's best man, Mike. Go ahead and take it away, my friend. And then they'll take away the toast. And sometimes they want a song played before. They're like, hey, man, play this one song before and then introduce me. And I'm like, sure, I got you, totally. But make sure that you have these songs set up beforehand and label them. Very important to label them. Put the bride and groom's name on them. That way if you lose your outline and you just have a forgetful moment, you got their name right there in front of you. So very important stuff. Be very detailed in your questions, as well as your outline. Have them fill out a wedding outline, because once they fill out that wedding outline, you can go through there and you can select all those special moments and you can build your crates around them. So very important stuff. Also, if you're building your crates, make sure you do your dinner mix. Make sure you have that ready. Always have extra songs than you really need. If you do quick mixes, instead of 20 songs in an hour, you're 20 to 30 songs in an hour, you're going to need probably about 60 to 70 if you're doing quick mixes. So I do like to quick mix during dinner. I feel like it adds a little more value to the actual event. And it's a little more impressive too, but you don't necessarily have to quick mix, but I wouldn't have any gaps in between songs, because you can hear people talking really loud and then you're like, oh gosh, yeah, I should get this next song going. So I do recommend quick mixing, or at least looping out of a song into the next song. It's less abrasive and it just makes you feel more comfortable. Also, when you quick mix and people are drinking, it'll make them want to drink more, which will make your job easier for party time when everybody's dancing and stuff, because they're already loose and they're not all uptight and they just arrived and they're nervous or whatever else. So when you do cocktail hour and stuff, it is important to quick mix, because it will get people a little bit more talking faster and drinking a little bit more than they probably had hoped to be drinking. And then also, what else can I say about being a wedding DJ? Being a wedding DJ is really about keeping everything going. It's probably one of the more, it's really fun. Like, I really enjoy it because you get to, a lot of the times, DJ for babies all the way up to 80, maybe even 90-year-olds. So it's such a broad range of people that it's really fun, because you get to play different eras of music. And that's what the fun part is. You get to play a lot of different party music everybody knows, and it puts everybody in a good mood, and you're in a place where people are already happy. So rather than being in an environment all the time where people are moody and they don't want to do anything, this is a place where people are getting dressed up. They're looking their best to be there. They're having a great time. They're maybe haven't seen people in 20 years. They're reconnecting with people. It's kind of like a family reunion in some sense. So, and then also, ask questions to the bride and groom, like, how loud do you want the music when people are arriving? Do you want it kind of a lower level, like where people can still talk, but it's not like the music isn't up here and people are trying to talk and they're like yelling at each other, you always want to keep your music complimentary. So think about it like a movie, right? Where you have music in the background and people are talking. Think about it that way, but maybe bring it up just a little bit. But be really respectful for older people. I've had people who had hearing aids, and they were just like, man, like, and it wasn't like I was playing the music too loud, but it was just a little too loud for them. And so they were just like, would you mind just maybe just a little bit down our hearing aids, and we want to be able to talk to each other, but it's just killing our hearing aids because we got them amplified. And I'm like, sure, I'll bring it down just a little bit more for you guys. And they really appreciate it, and they loved all the music I played. But it's one of those things, you got to be really respectful to older people that do have hearing aids or some sort of hearing issues. And not to mention, like, I don't know, it's cool to be blasting music, but not when people are like reconnecting for the first time in a long time. And they want to be around music that's really good, but they don't want to be competing with the music. They would rather the music be complementary to their conversation, if that makes sense, right? So, but as the night progresses and then as the party begins and the older folks are going home and the younger folks are still there, you can turn the music up a little bit more because they're going to want to party, right? They're going to want to like feel the music a little bit more. So keep that in mind. Look around your room. Like, there's a lot of people with white hair. Maybe turn the music down just a little bit. Don't make it too competitive. I did a wedding at a church that actually had a gymnasium. And I set up right in the center, front and center. Tables were all out there. There's like 150 tables out there. Mostly older folks. And then the pastor comes and sits down right next to the speaker. And they're eating right in front of me. It was interesting. I definitely did not crank anything up because everybody was like right in front of the speaker, so I couldn't turn it up. Like if I turn it up too loud, people are like, "Oh, I can't hear, I can't talk." I had a lady come up to me afterwards. She says, I do a lot of photography for weddings, and usually the music is way too loud. People are complaining about it. She said, but no one was complaining. They were actually like really happy. They loved all your song selections. I was like, that's good to know because I was just assuming like this would be a good level to be at. So always keep that in mind. You don't need to blast the music out. It's kind of an amateur move, and people don't really appreciate the super loud music. They would just prefer that, keep the music at a good, decent level. Still want to hear it. We still want to sing to it, but we just don't want it to be like the commander of the room. So keep in mind, respect the guests, respect your elders, respect all that stuff. It's very important. What else can I say? Let's see here. Yeah, once you get all the formalities done, and if there is drinking at the wedding, it goes by really fast. Like, there's so much preparation you put into before actually showing up to the venue. And it's good to research the venue online. Very good to check out photos and check out previous weddings that they've had there. But the best thing I can tell you is, like, when you get there, it's just completely different. It's completely different than what you're going to expect in your head. They may put you in the corner. They may put you front and center. They may not realize that you have your own DJ facade, so they have a table with a chair. I never sit down when I DJ. I just don't feel right about it. I feel like if I'm standing the whole time, I'm giving the client as much of my attention as I can. I care about their event. I'm mixing. I'm moving everything forward for them. Everybody's having a great time. I feel like if I'm sitting there, songs are just going to the next song with like space in between. I don't feel like you're getting enough value for your money. So that's why I always am standing when I'm DJing. Not only that, but like, I don't know. I mean, I might sit if I'm like having a meal or something, like in between while everybody else is having a meal. But even then, it's like, I prefer just to stand and eat. Like, it's just the way I am. I've had people say, "Oh, have a seat," I'm just like, I can't because I don't know how to. I can't DJ like when I'm just sitting down. So that's just something I've taught myself is to DJ standing up versus sitting down. And I don't like space in between songs. I just want to make sure that everything is just super tight and clean and just keep the night moving. So I guess that's the best thing I can say. Just ask a lot of questions. Make sure you have a wedding outline. And yeah, just make sure you ask all the right questions. And don't be afraid to turn down a job. Like, this is something that I've had to do a few times this last year. And it wasn't because I didn't like the couple. I actually really liked the couple, and I thought it would be a really fun wedding. But I didn't think I was the right fit for the couple. I just felt like they needed maybe a company DJ versus like a DJ that just does, his own solo company versus a company that has like 10 DJs on deck. I felt like that would have been a better fit for them. So I did have to respectfully decline on a couple of those jobs. And sometimes you'll get kind of an instinctual feeling, or sometimes you'll even have events in your life that come up that you have to attend to on a certain weekend. And maybe they haven't paid the deposit yet, haven't signed a contract yet. Um, that's just something that instinctually I think you'll know if these are the people you should work with. Keep in mind, this is their wedding day. Big day. A lot of family, a lot of friends they haven't seen in a while. It's a big day. So you really want to respect them. And sometimes that just means turning down a job, and another DJ would be better fit for that job. So that's the best thing I can say. And then also, yeah, like I just mentioned, always always make them pay the deposit up front. And you kind of want to set that and make it non-refundable, because I recently had somebody hit me up a couple of days ago. They had a wedding in July, and they said, they already paid the deposit. They hadn't signed the contract, which I thought was a little interesting, but I didn't really push on it because it's not until July. It's like, you already paid the deposit, cool. And they basically just said, hey, we decided to elope, and we're giving you 3 months notice. Go ahead and keep the deposit. We appreciate you, and look, man, we'll hire you for anything else coming up, but we just want to elope. We don't want to really do a wedding, and there could be numerous reasons for that, but that's why I always collect a deposit, and non-refundable. I always tell people it's non-refundable, because you don't want to refund somebody a deposit that they booked like 6 months in advance and then they cancel out on you. Now you got to book that weekend for another gig when you already had it all set. So keep that in mind. People do cancel for whatever reason, and there's nothing you can do about it. But as long as you get a deposit, then you're safeguarding yourself, and then that way you're not wasting that date. You know what I mean? Like, nothing's worse than somebody canceling on you like 48 hours before. And you're like, well, thanks. I was expecting that money to come. Because that's what I do. I'm working here for money, so they cancel out on you. So always get a deposit. Always have a contract. Contracts are so important. And what the contract does is it lists all your services that you're going to have. It lists where the venue is at, what time you're going to be doing your services for them. And it's just really important. It makes you look really professional too. Like, if you don't send out a contract, like if I was hiring a DJ for my wedding and they didn't send out a contract, I'd be like, what if they don't show up? What if they get sick all of a sudden, So it's important to have a contract for numerous reasons, but one of the main reasons is just to look professional, So deposit, non-refundable, contract, great. And then you send them a wedding outline. And what the wedding outline does is they fill out all the special moments like we just went over previously for the wedding to make sure everything is perfect. Because you want to make sure you practice too. Practice the playlist that you're going to play for dinner. Practice it, mix it, pre-mix it, just mix it down. Spend a couple hours one night and just mix it. Mix it in front of some people that you know too. Just be like, what do you guys think? And they'll give you your opinion. They'll be like, well, yeah, it was cool, but I feel like that one song in there just doesn't really, I don't know, it's an okay song. What about this one song? And you're like, wow, I forgot about that song. Thank you. And then you'll throw in some new stuff. So what that does too is that helps you freshen up your playlist, where if you just put all the songs together and you don't mix them first, then you don't really know what songs may work and may not work in a mix versus just listening to them. So these are some like little tricks that you can do for yourself to make yourself a better DJ as well. Just pre-mix your playlist. Just take an hour or two, just pre-mix it, see what songs work, what don't work, get them out of there if they don't work. It's like American Idol, right? You go through this big audition, whittle all the way down to number one, but you do it in stages. So that's the best thing I can say about being a wedding DJ. But yeah, have fun. Always look your best when you go to your gigs. People appreciate sharp-dressed people. They respect them more. So those are some things I could say. Also, always say thank you. Always say you're welcome. Always say I appreciate it. Showing appreciation, like for somebody that is the same way as you, like where you're very thankful and gracious with your compliments, it says a lot about who you are as a person and not just a DJ. So politeness, you can never be too polite. That's the one thing I could tell anybody in this life. And no matter if you're a DJ, anything that you do in this life, if you show gratitude and you're thankful, people will naturally be attracted to you, and they will naturally they'll appreciate you back as well. And the people that don't thank you, then you got to be a little questionable about that. You know, like I said, it's okay to turn down a job. There's a lot of weddings out there. You know, there's a lot of couples that need a great DJ. So don't be afraid to turn down a job, and don't overbook yourself too. That's something I would recommend. Always show up a couple hours before. Very helpful. And you should also, you know, some clients I will like either text, send an email, and say, hey, I'm on my way. Some I won't. What I'm going to start doing from here on out is I'm going to give that option. Like, hey, would you like to be notified, you know, a couple hours before I leave to let you know that I'm on my way? Some clients will actually hit you up and be like, just want to make sure you're still coming. I'm like, yeah, I'm actually next door getting some food just before the show. And they're like, oh, perfect. You know, like they love that. So that's one of those things that's very important. Like, you got to have everything listed, and you got to go over it with your client. And not only that, but it's just great customer service. You know, and then once they fill out the wedding outline, have a phone call with them and go over the wedding outline. If there's some names in there you're not really sure about, and they want to do wedding introductions, you might want to talk to them and say, like, how do you pronounce that name? Like, I want to make sure that I'm pronouncing it correctly. And they will greatly appreciate that. They will appreciate that so much. Like, you just took that little extra, like, oh, he cares about this event. He's not just doing this because he's like, oh, I'm a DJ, whatever. Like, no, he actually cares. So that's very important. Always go over the wedding outline after they fill it out. If you can do a quick phone call with them, it usually only takes about 5 to 7 minutes. It makes everybody feel better. You can answer any questions you may have, like, oh, I noticed you wanted this song, you know, for your bouquet toss. Is that a different version of the song, or is that the actual version? Like, what's that song, the levitating song? There's a remix with rap on it, and there's the normal version. Well, the normal version might be a better version to play if there's older people there, because people in their 50s, like, they don't really feel hip hop or rap. They just don't get it. That wasn't their generation. They're just like, I don't get what they're talking about. I don't really care. It's just noise to me. So keep that in mind too. Like, what version of the song did you want? Did you want the one with the rap, or did you want the one without the rap? And a lot of times they'll just be like, yeah, just go ahead and get the rap out of there. That's fine. We don't want the rap on there. So keep that in mind. Gosh, I think that's about it. If you do have any other questions for me, leave them in the comment section. I know this video has been a little lengthy, but I really just wanted to go over, like, you know, the whole process of planning a wedding. And keep in mind, man, like, these are couples that you know, this is the first time planning an event, you know? So the more helpful you can be for somebody who's first time planning an event, because I played so many weddings now. I planned so many events, and, like, it's stressful. It's really stressful. Like, if you got 150 people and maybe only 50 of them responded back to you, so you don't know what size crowd you're going to have yet. It's those little things, like, how much food should I order? How much, you know, what size venue do we really need? You know, all this kind of stuff. So, you know, I think as a DJ, you can really be helpful by asking all those questions, and it helps the couple get organized as well. So, and it also builds trust, you know, like, trust that you're not going to mess my wedding up. You're not going to play some weird music halfway through, and it's going to have, like, just craziness. Like, you're super prepared and ready to go. So very important. You can charge more too. The more experience you have, the more you can charge. Better clients you're going to get, the more respect you'll get. So always keep that in mind. All right. Well, I guess that'll be the end of this video. Oh yeah, subscribe if you want to. If not, that's on you. Like the video if you want. Share it. Make a comment. Ask me a question. Tell me some of your experiences being a wedding DJ. You know, have you played your first wedding? Is this your 200th wedding? Let me know in the comments. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.